Lynn was walking home from school when she heard muffled sobs nearby. Curious, she followed the sound and found a young boy sitting on the curb, tears streaming down his face. He clutched a small, colorful leash in his hand, and Lynn immediately understood he had lost his puppy. "Hey, what's wrong?" Lynn asked gently, kneeling beside him. "My puppy, Max. He ran away, and I can't find him anywhere," the boy cried, his voice trembling. Lynn's heart ached at the sight of his distress. She could only imagine how devastating it must be to lose a beloved pet. "Let's find him together," she offered, determined to help. The boy looked up, hope flickering in his eyes. "Really? You'll help me?" "Of course." Lynn smiled reassuringly. They quickly set off, combing through the nearby streets, calling Max's name and asking neighbors if they had seen the little dog. The afternoon sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows, but they pressed on. Lynn felt a bond forming with the boy as they shared stories about their pets, laughter punctuating their search. She learned his name was Huey, and that Max was a mischievous little ball of fur with a knack for escaping. After hours of searching, they finally reached a small park a few blocks away. Lynn spotted some bushes that looked promising. "Let's check over there," she suggested, leading the way. As they approached, they heard a soft whimper. Lynn pushed aside the branches, and there, tangled in the undergrowth, was a small, frightened puppy. "Max!" Huey shouted, rushing forward. Lynn watched as Huey gently pulled the puppy free, hugging him tightly. "I thought I'd lost you forever," he exclaimed, tears of joy streaming down his cheeks. Lynn felt a wave of happiness wash over her, knowing she had helped reunite them. "I'm so glad we found him," she said, smiling. From that day on, a friendship blossomed between Lynn and Huey. They would often meet at the park to play with Max, sharing stories and laughter. Huey's gratitude for Lynn's kindness never faded, and he often spoke of how she had been his hero that day. Years passed, and life led Lynn and Huey on different paths. Lynn focused on her studies, aspiring to become a veterinarian, while Huey nurtured his love for animals, dreaming of becoming a dog trainer. They occasionally crossed paths, but their lives became busier, and they lost touch. One fateful day, as Lynn was driving home from school, a sudden accident changed everything. She found herself in a hospital bed, surrounded by worried faces. She had sustained serious injuries, and the doctors informed her family that she needed a blood transfusion urgently. In the midst of the chaos, a familiar name echoed through the hallways. Huey had come to donate blood, unaware that Lynn was the patient in need. As he arrived at the blood donation center, he felt a strange sense of urgency, a nagging feeling that he needed to help someone today. Once inside, the nurses took his information and prepared him for the procedure. Just as he was about to lie down, he overheard a conversation between two doctors discussing Lynn's case. "She's stable now, but we're still waiting on her blood type," one doctor said. Huey's heart raced. "Lynn," he whispered, his mind racing back to their shared childhood memories. Without hesitation, he approached the medical staff. "I want to donate my blood for her. I know her. She's my friend." The nurses exchanged glances, impressed by his determination. "What's your blood type?" they asked. When Huey confirmed that he had the same blood type as Lynn, they wasted no time in prepping him for the donation. He lay back, feeling a mix of anxiety and hope. He remembered the times Lynn had helped him, and now he wanted to return the favor. After the donation, Huey was informed that Lynn had received the blood and was in recovery. Relief washed over him, knowing he had played a part in saving her life. A few days later, Lynn slowly opened her eyes to find Huey sitting beside her hospital bed, a look of concern on his face. "Lynn, you scared me," he said, relief evident in his voice. "Huey? Is that really you?" Lynn murmured, blinking in surprise. "I can't believe you're here." "Of course. I came to help," he replied, his eyes shining with warmth. "You saved my puppy, so I thought it was time to save you." Lynn laughed softly, grateful tears filling her eyes. "I'm so lucky to have you as a friend." Thank you for everything." As they talked, Lynn realized how their paths had intertwined once more. They reminisced about the day they found Max and shared their dreams for the future. The bond they had formed years ago felt stronger than ever, rekindled by the challenges they had faced. After her recovery, Lynn and Hui decided to work together on a project that combined their passions, creating a program to provide care for injured animals and support for families in need. They knew that their experiences had shaped them into who they were, and they wanted to give back to the community. Through their collaboration, they not only honored their past but also built a brighter future. Lynn's journey to becoming a veterinarian progressed with Hui's unwavering support, and they both found fulfillment in helping others, be it animals or people. As they continued to navigate life's ups and downs, they knew that they would always have each other's backs. Their friendship, forged in kindness and resilience, became a powerful testament to the beauty of connection and the importance of lending a helping hand when it was needed most. Together, they would face whatever challenges came their way, side by side, just as they had all those years ago with a lost puppy. As Lynn and Hui embarked on their journey to create the animal care program, they were met with both excitement and challenges. They began by organizing community meetings to raise awareness about the importance of animal welfare and the need for accessible veterinary care for low-income families. The response from the community was overwhelmingly positive, with many people eager to contribute. With each meeting, they gathered volunteers, including local veterinarians who offered their services pro bono, college students studying animal sciences, and compassionate community members who shared their time and resources. Together, they brainstormed ideas for the program and set specific goals, including establishing a mobile clinic that could reach underserved neighborhoods. The initial steps were daunting, but Lynn and Hui's passion fueled their determination. They applied for grants, held fundraising events, and reached out to local businesses for sponsorships. Each small success built momentum, and they soon had enough support to purchase a van that could be converted into a mobile clinic. One sunny Saturday, the community came together for a large fundraising event at the park, where Lynn and Hui had first met. They organized a pet adoption drive, dog training workshops, and even a bake sale, with all proceeds going toward the mobile clinic. Families brought their pets, and the atmosphere was filled with laughter, wagging tails, and a shared sense of purpose. During the event, Lynn took a moment to step back and soak in the joy around her. She watched Hui interact with families, helping them with their dogs, and felt an overwhelming sense of pride. This was more than just a project, it was a movement that brought the community closer together, creating bonds over their shared love for animals. As the day wrapped up, Lynn and Hui counted the donations and were thrilled to see they had raised enough to cover the initial costs of the mobile clinic. They celebrated with their team, sharing hugs and laughter, knowing they were one step closer to realizing their dream. Months passed, and the mobile clinic became a reality. Equipped with essential veterinary tools and staffed by local veterinarians, they began offering free checkups, vaccinations, and educational workshops on responsible pet ownership. The response was incredible, with families expressing gratitude for the access to care they had never had before. One day, while working at the mobile clinic, Lynn encountered a young girl named Mai who brought in her sick kitten. The little girl's eyes were filled with worry, and Lynn immediately knelt down to comfort her. "Don't worry, we're here to help your kitten," she assured her. As Lynn examined the kitten, she noticed Mai's face light up with hope. After diagnosing the kitten with a treatable condition, Lynn explained the treatment plan. "Your kitten will be just fine. We'll take care of him," she said with a smile. Over the following weeks, Lynn and Hui continued to meet families like Mai's, witnessing firsthand the impact their program had on the community. They not only provided medical care but also educated families about the importance of spaying and neutering, the benefits of vaccinations, and how to properly care for their pets. As the program grew, so did Lynn and Hui's friendship. They often reminisced about their childhood adventures with Max and laughed about the challenges they had faced. They became inseparable, sharing dreams for the future and encouraging one another in their personal journeys. One evening, while sitting on the steps of the mobile clinic after a long day, Hui turned to Lynn, a thoughtful expression on his face. "You know, I never imagined we would come this far. I'm so grateful for everything we've achieved together. Lynn nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. It's amazing how a lost puppy brought us together, and now we're making a real difference. I couldn't have done this without you. As they shared that moment of reflection, they realized that their friendship was built on trust, support, and a shared commitment to helping others. They had not only found a purpose in their work, but had also created a lasting bond that would endure through whatever life brought their way. Years later, as the program flourished, they decided to host an anniversary celebration to commemorate their achievements. They invited the entire community to join in the festivities, sharing stories of the animals they had helped and the families they had touched. During the celebration, Lynn stood before the crowd, her heart full. Today, we celebrate not just our work, but the spirit of our community. Together, we've shown that compassion can change lives. Thank you for believing in this vision and for standing by us. The crowd erupted in applause, and Hui took the opportunity to address everyone as well. Every animal we've helped and every family we've supported is a testament to what we can achieve when we come together. Let's continue to care for each other and our furry friends. As the evening continued, laughter filled the air, and people shared their stories of connection through the program. Lynn and Hui moved through the crowd, grateful for the relationships they had built and the lives they had changed. In the years that followed, they expanded their mission even further, launching educational programs in schools to teach children about empathy and responsibility toward animals. They became advocates for animal rights and worked with local lawmakers to promote legislation that protected animals in their community. Through their journey, Lynn and Hui discovered that the bond they had formed was not just a friendship, it was a partnership grounded in a shared vision of a kinder world. They inspired each other to dream bigger and to face challenges head-on, knowing that they had the strength of their community behind them. As they stood together one evening, watching the sunset over the park where it all began, they reflected on how far they had come. Lynn looked at Hui, her eyes shining with gratitude. Thank you for being my friend and partner in this journey. I can't wait to see what the future holds for us. Hui smiled, confidence radiating from him. Whatever comes our way, we'll face it together, just like we did with Max. We're just getting started. With hearts full of hope and determination, they embraced the future, ready to continue making a difference in their community, one paw at a time. Their story was a testament to the enduring power of friendship, compassion, and the incredible impact that comes from caring for one another. As Lynn and Hui's journey progressed, they received recognition for their contributions to animal welfare and community service. Their program caught the attention of local media, and soon they were featured in news articles and interviews. The exposure brought even more volunteers and donations, allowing them to expand their reach. With their newfound resources, they set up workshops focused on training young people to become advocates for animal rights. They encouraged teens to take leadership roles within the program, creating a space where the younger generation could learn and contribute. This initiative not only educated the youth about animal care, but also fostered a sense of responsibility and compassion within the community. One day, while preparing for an upcoming workshop, Lynn received a call from a local high school principal. I've heard great things about your program, and I'd love to discuss the possibility of a partnership, he said enthusiastically. We want to incorporate animal welfare education into our curriculum. Lynn was thrilled. That sounds amazing. We'd love to collaborate and bring our workshops to your students. The partnership blossomed, and soon Lynn and Hui found themselves delivering presentations in classrooms, engaging students with hands-on activities. They taught them how to care for pets, the importance of rescue efforts, and how to advocate for animals in need. The students responded with excitement, and many wanted to volunteer at the mobile clinic, eager to gain experience and make a difference. One afternoon, while working at the clinic, a group of enthusiastic students arrived. Lynn and Hui welcomed them with open arms. We're so glad you're here. Today, we're organizing a pet adoption event, and we need all hands on deck, Hui said, grinning. As they set up for the event, the students buzzed with energy, eagerly preparing posters and decorating the space. Lynn felt a sense of pride watching them work together, their enthusiasm infectious. It reminded her of her early days with Hui, full of hope and determination. When the event began, families arrived with their children, excited to meet the adoptable pets. The atmosphere was lively, filled with laughter and joyful barks. Lin and Hui guided the students as they interacted with the families, sharing stories about each animal and helping match them with their new companions. At one point, Lin noticed a shy girl standing to the side, her eyes filled with curiosity but hesitant to approach. She gently walked over. "Hi there. Would you like to meet one of the puppies?" Lin asked. The girl nodded slowly, and Lin led her to a playful puppy wagging his tail. "This little guy is Benny. He loves to play fetch and cuddle. Would you like to give him a try?" As the girl knelt down, the puppy bounded over, showering her with kisses. A smile broke across her face, and Lin felt a rush of joy. It was moments like this that made all their hard work worthwhile. The adoption event was a huge success, with several pets finding loving homes. As the day came to a close, Lin and Hui gathered the students to reflect on the experience. "You all did an incredible job today," Lin praised. "Thank you for your hard work and dedication. You've made a real difference." The students beamed with pride, and Hui added, "This is just the beginning. We're building a community of advocates, and we want you all to be a part of it." Inspired by their mentors, many of the students expressed interest in continuing to volunteer and learn more about animal care. They wanted to organize future events and outreach efforts, excited to contribute to the cause they had come to care about so deeply. As the months rolled on, Lin and Hui's program flourished, expanding into neighboring towns. They began hosting joint events with other animal welfare organizations, amplifying their impact. Their work garnered further media attention, and soon they were invited to speak at regional conferences about their model of community engagement and support for animal welfare. Throughout all this, Lin and Hui remained grounded. They continued to visit the park where they had first met, reflecting on their journey and the lives they had touched. They often spoke about their dreams for the future, envisioning a world where every animal had a loving home and every community member understood the importance of compassion. One evening, as they sat on a bench watching the sunset, Lin turned to Hui. "You know, it's incredible to think about how far we've come since that day we found Max. Sometimes I still can't believe it." Hui nodded, a warm smile on his face. "It just goes to show that one small act of kindness can spark a chain reaction. We've created something meaningful together, and I'm so grateful for that." As they continued to talk about their aspirations, they realized that they wanted to take their mission even further. They began exploring the idea of opening a dedicated animal shelter, a safe haven for abandoned and injured animals. This dream ignited a fire in both of them, and they quickly set to work planning and organizing fundraising efforts. They rallied their community, engaging local businesses, schools, and animal lovers to contribute. Lin and Hui held bake sales, car washes, and pet-themed events, all aimed at raising funds for the shelter. The support from the community was overwhelming, and soon they had enough to secure a location and begin renovations. As they worked tirelessly to bring their vision to life, Lin often reflected on her journey. From a chance encounter with a lost puppy to creating a network of compassionate advocates, she felt a profound sense of purpose. Hui was right by her side, and together they navigated the challenges of establishing the shelter. Finally, after months of hard work, the day arrived for the grand opening of their animal shelter. The community came out in droves to celebrate. Lin and Hui stood proudly at the entrance, ready to welcome guests and share their vision. As they cut the ribbon, cheers erupted from the crowd. Lin's heart swelled with pride as she looked around at the smiling faces, families, children, and volunteers who had supported them every step of the way. "Today, we open not just a shelter, but a place of hope," Lin announced, her voice steady. "This is a home for animals in need and a space where our community can come together to learn, grow, and make a difference." Hui stepped forward, adding, "Every animal that enters these doors is a reminder of why we started this journey. Together, we can create a brighter future for them and for ourselves." The celebration continued with activities, tours of the shelter, and opportunities to meet the animals that would soon find loving homes. Lynn felt a rush of happiness watching children interact with the dogs and cats, their laughter echoing through the halls. As the day came to an end, Lynn and Huey stood outside the shelter, their hearts full. They had come so far, transforming their childhood dreams into a reality that was now benefiting countless animals and families. In that moment, Lynn knew that their journey was far from over. Together, they would continue to advocate for those without a voice, creating a world filled with compassion and care for all beings. The bond they had forged, born from a simple act of kindness, would carry them forward as they wrote the next chapters of their incredible story. As the animal shelter flourished, Lynn and Huey found themselves busier than ever. The community embraced the shelter as a vital resource, and they quickly became known for their outreach programs, educational workshops, and successful adoption events. Each day brought new challenges and triumphs, and they thrived on the energy of their work. With the shelter's growing popularity, Lynn and Huey realized the need to expand their facilities. They held a community brainstorming session, inviting everyone to share ideas on how to improve the shelter and its services. The response was enthusiastic, with volunteers suggesting new programs like therapy, animal training, and youth mentorship opportunities. One particularly inspiring idea came from a group of high school students who wanted to start a reading program where children could come to the shelter and read to the animals. "It will help the kids build confidence and give the animals socialization," one of the students explained. Lynn and Huey loved the idea and immediately began planning how to implement it. They organized a Read to a Pet Day, inviting families to come to the shelter with their children. The event was a hit, with kids eagerly reading to the dogs and cats, their faces lighting up with joy. The animals, in turn, basked in the attention, creating a heartwarming atmosphere that brought the community even closer together. As the months passed, Lynn and Huey began to notice something else, a growing interest in animal behavior and training. They decided to offer workshops for community members who wanted to learn how to better understand and train their pets. Local trainers volunteered their time, sharing their expertise and drawing in crowds eager to participate. Amidst all the excitement, Lynn and Huey also faced challenges. Managing a growing shelter meant navigating logistics, finances, and sometimes difficult emotional situations when animals arrived in need of extensive care. They worked long hours, but their shared vision kept them motivated. They found strength in each other and the community, knowing they were all working toward the same goal. One evening, as they were closing up after a long day, Lynn sighed, leaning against the counter. "I can't believe how far we've come, but I sometimes feel overwhelmed by everything we still need to do." Huey nodded, understanding her feelings. "It's okay to feel that way. We're building something incredible, and it's natural to have ups and downs. Remember, we're in this together." His words comforted Lynn. "You're right. We have an amazing support system, and we can always lean on each other." With renewed determination, they began brainstorming ways to ensure they took care of themselves amidst their busy schedules. They set aside time each week for self-care, whether it was going for a walk, enjoying a coffee break, or even just sitting quietly in the shelter's garden to recharge. As the shelter continued to thrive, they celebrated their first anniversary with a grand event. They invited the entire community, showcasing the success of their programs, featuring stories of adopted animals, and highlighting the impact of their work. The celebration included games, food stalls, and opportunities for families to adopt pets right on the spot. During the event, Lynn stood at the podium, her heart swelling with pride. "Today, we celebrate not only the animals we've helped, but the incredible community that has rallied around us. This shelter is a testament to what we can achieve when we come together in love and compassion." Huey took the stage next, addressing the crowd with warmth. "Each of you plays a vital role in this journey. Whether you've adopted, volunteered, or supported us in any way, thank you for being part of our mission. Let's continue to create a safe haven for all animals in need." As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the park, families gathered around to watch a special slideshow featuring before and after stories of animals that had found homes through the shelter. The tears of joy and laughter mingled in the air, creating a sense of unity and hope. In the following weeks, Lynn and Hui decided it was time to take their program even further. They began discussing the idea of collaborating with local schools to introduce a curriculum that taught empathy and responsibility toward animals. They envisioned workshops that would not only educate students, but also inspire them to take action in their communities. They met with school administrators, presenting their vision and sharing success stories from their shelter. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and soon they were scheduling workshops in several schools, where students would learn about animal welfare and even volunteer at the shelter. One day, while leading a workshop at a local middle school, Lynn noticed a student sitting quietly in the back, seemingly disengaged. During a break, she approached him. "Hey there! Do you have any questions or thoughts about what we're discussing?" The boy looked up, shyly shaking his head. "I don't really know much about animals. I've never had a pet." Lynn smiled gently. "That's okay. Everyone starts somewhere. Would you like to learn about some of the animals here at the shelter? We have some really amazing stories." His eyes brightened a little, and he nodded. "I'd like that." Over the next few weeks, Lynn made it a point to connect with this student, sharing stories about the animals and encouraging him to visit the shelter. Eventually, he did visit, and Lynn introduced him to a gentle dog named Bella, who had been waiting for a home. As the boy spent time with Bella, he blossomed. His laughter echoed through the shelter as he played with her, and Lynn could see the change in him. It was moments like these that reinforced her belief in the power of kindness and education. As the school year came to a close, the student approached Lynn, excitement in his eyes. "I've decided I want to volunteer at the shelter over the summer. I want to learn more about taking care of animals." Lynn beamed, her heart swelling with joy. "That's wonderful. We would love to have you on our team. You'll learn so much, and I can't wait to see what you'll accomplish." Summer arrived, and the shelter buzzed with activity as new volunteers joined the team. Lynn and Hui organized summer camps for kids, where they could learn about animal care, responsibility, and empathy. They brought in guest speakers, including veterinarians and animal trainers, who shared their knowledge and passion. One day, while organizing a session, Lynn noticed the boy from the workshop working diligently with the other campers. He was showing them how to properly groom a dog, his confidence shining through. Lynn watched with pride, knowing that they were planting seeds of compassion in young hearts. As the summer progressed, Lynn and Hui's shelter became a hub of activity, filled with laughter and learning. They celebrated their successes, but they also faced challenges, like the unexpected influx of animals in need due to local shelters closing. It pushed them to their limits, but they rallied together, knowing that their mission was more important than ever. With determination, they reached out to other shelters for support and created a network to help transport animals to safety. They coordinated with local foster homes and volunteers to ensure that every animal had a chance at a loving home. Through these efforts, Lynn and Hui became known as advocates not just for animal welfare, but also for community collaboration. They worked tirelessly to promote the idea that everyone could play a role in making a difference, whether big or small. As the year came to a close, they held a celebratory gathering to reflect on their achievements and the impact they had made together. Surrounded by the community, Lynn and Hui shared their journey, thanking everyone for their support and involvement. "We've proven that when we come together, we can create real change," Hui said, looking out at the smiling faces. "Let's continue this journey, not just for the animals, but for each other." Lynn nodded, her heart filled with gratitude. "Together, we are making a difference, one paw, one heart at a time." As they looked out at the community they had built together, Lynn knew that their journey was ongoing. With each passing day, they were not just creating a shelter, they were fostering a culture of compassion, kindness, and love that would resonate for generations to come. Their story, rooted in friendship and fueled by shared dreams, was only just beginning. As the new year began, Lynn and Hui set ambitious goals for the shelter. They wanted to expand their outreach, enhance their facilities, and further their education initiatives. To kick off the year, they organized a fundraising gala, inviting local businesses, community leaders, and animal lovers to support their mission. The planning process was intense, but exciting. Lin and Hui poured their hearts into every detail, from securing a venue to coordinating silent auctions featuring unique experiences and local artisan products. They reached out to local chefs who generously offered to donate their time and culinary skills to prepare a gourmet dinner for the guests. As the gala approached, the anticipation grew. They worked tirelessly, and Lin often found herself daydreaming about how the funds raised could help the shelter expand its facilities and programs. She envisioned a larger space for the animals, more educational resources for the community, and perhaps even a dedicated area for the new reading program. The night of the gala arrived, and the atmosphere buzzed with excitement. The venue was beautifully decorated, adorned with fairy lights, and tables set with elegant centerpieces. As guests arrived, Lin and Hui welcomed them with smiles, grateful for their support. The event began with a cocktail hour, during which Lin took the opportunity to mingle and share the shelter's success stories with attendees. She watched as connections were made, laughter filled the room, and new friendships blossomed over a shared passion for animal welfare. After the cocktails, everyone gathered for dinner. Hui took the stage to address the crowd, his voice steady and filled with enthusiasm. "Thank you all for being here tonight. Your support means the world to us and to the animals we serve. Together, we are creating a community where compassion thrives." As dinner concluded, Lin shared heartwarming stories of animals that had found their forever homes through the shelter, highlighting the impact the community had made. She spoke about their upcoming initiatives, including plans for a community garden that would not only provide fresh produce, but also serve as a therapeutic space for those in need. The highlight of the evening was the silent auction, where guests bid on various items and experiences, from weekend getaways to signed memorabilia from local artists. The energy in the room was electric as the bids climbed higher and higher, each contribution bringing them closer to their goals. As the gala drew to a close, Lin and Hui announced the total amount raised, and the crowd erupted in applause. They had exceeded their expectations, and the funds would allow them to implement several projects, including expanding their facilities and enhancing their educational programs. With the success of the gala, Lin and Hui dove headfirst into their plans. They began renovations on the shelter, creating additional kennels and play areas for the animals. They designed a dedicated space for workshops and educational sessions, ensuring that the community could benefit from the shelter in even more ways. As part of their new initiatives, they launched a pet ambassador program, training volunteers to promote responsible pet ownership and animal welfare in their neighborhoods. This program not only empowered individuals, but also fostered a sense of community engagement, creating advocates in every corner of the city. One day, during a training session for the pet ambassadors, Lin noticed a familiar face in the crowd, the boy who had first attended their workshop at the school. He had grown taller and more confident, his passion for animals shining through. "Thank you for coming back," Lin said, smiling. "How has your summer been at the shelter?" "It's been amazing," he exclaimed. "I've learned so much, and I love helping out with the dogs. I even started a little club at school where we raise money for the shelter." Lin's heart swelled with pride. "That's incredible. You're making a real difference." Inspired by his initiative, Lin encouraged him to lead a workshop for younger students, empowering him to share his knowledge and passion. With Lin's support, he organized a fun, interactive session where kids could learn about animal care through games and activities. As the seasons changed, the shelter continued to thrive, becoming a beacon of hope and compassion in the community. Lin and Hui found themselves deeply intertwined in the lives of the people and animals they served. Each adoption story, each success, and each new volunteer brought them joy and fulfillment. However, they also faced challenges. One winter, a severe storm hit the area, causing power outages and road closures. The shelter was inundated with calls from worried community members about their pets. Lin and Hui quickly mobilized their team to provide assistance, ensuring every animal was cared for and that families felt supported during the crisis. They opened the shelter as a temporary haven for pets whose owners were unable to care for them due to the storm. Lynn spent long hours coordinating with volunteers, arranging transportation, and ensuring everyone had access to food and supplies. Hui worked tirelessly alongside her, reassuring worried pet owners and providing updates. During this time, Lynn reflected on the importance of community. The support they received was incredible. Neighbors brought food and blankets, local businesses donated supplies, and volunteers stepped up in droves to help. It reinforced their belief that kindness could shine brightly even in the darkest moments. Once the storm passed, Lynn and Hui organized a community appreciation day to thank everyone who had helped during the crisis. They invited families to come to the shelter for a day of fun, games, and education, emphasizing the importance of community support in animal welfare. As the years rolled on, Lynn and Hui's bond grew stronger. They navigated the ups and downs of running a shelter together, celebrating each milestone and supporting each other through challenges. Their friendship deepened into a profound partnership, rooted in shared values and a passion for making a difference. One evening, while closing up the shelter after a long day, Hui turned to Lynn with a thoughtful expression. "You know, I've been thinking. We've built something incredible here. What if we expanded our mission beyond just animal welfare?" Lynn raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you mean? What if we created a program that also addresses issues like mental health and social isolation in our community? We could partner with local therapists and organizations to provide resources and support, using the shelter as a safe space for people to connect." Lynn's eyes lit up at the idea. "That's brilliant. Animals have such a positive impact on mental health. We could create workshops that combine animal therapy with mental health support." With renewed excitement, they began planning this new initiative, reaching out to local mental health professionals and forming partnerships to bring their vision to life. They organized workshops and support groups, creating a safe environment for individuals to share their experiences, all while interacting with the shelter animals. As the program launched, Lynn and Hui witnessed the transformative power of the bond between people and animals. They saw individuals blossom as they found companionship, support, and healing through their interactions with the animals. The shelter became a sanctuary not only for animals in need but also for people seeking connection and understanding. The impact of their work reached far beyond their expectations. Families began sharing their stories of how the program had changed their lives, and community members expressed gratitude for the shelter's role in fostering healing and connection. One day, as they sat in the garden of the shelter, surrounded by the sounds of laughter and the joyful barks of dogs playing, Lynn turned to Hui, her heart full. "I never imagined we would grow into this, creating a space for healing and compassion for both animals and people." Hui smiled, his eyes shining with pride. "It's amazing how far we've come, but I believe this is just the beginning. There's so much more we can do." As they continued to dream about the future, Lynn knew that their journey would evolve, but the core of their mission would always remain the same: to create a community rooted in love, kindness, and compassion. Together, they would continue to inspire others to join in their efforts, proving that even the smallest acts of kindness could lead to monumental change. With every new initiative, every life they touched, and every bond they forged, Lynn and Hui built a legacy that would echo for generations, a testament to the power of love, friendship, and the incredible journey they had embarked upon together. As the months turned into years, Lynn and Hui's shelter became a cornerstone of the community, known not just for its animal welfare but also for its comprehensive support programs. They introduced initiatives like Pause for a Purpose, where local businesses partnered with the shelter to donate a portion of their sales to support community outreach. This created a ripple effect, encouraging others to get involved and support local causes. With the success of their mental health program, they saw an increase in participation. People from all walks of life came to the shelter not only to interact with the animals, but also to find solace and companionship. Lynn and Hui noticed how these interactions transformed lives, how a simple pet therapy session could bring smiles, laughter, and even healing to those who needed it most. One day, during a therapy session, Lynn noticed a woman named Mai, who had been attending regularly. At first, Mai seemed reserved, hesitant to engage with the animals. but slowly, over the weeks, she began to open up. Lynn had taken the time to sit with her and encourage her to connect with a timid dog named Max. The bond that formed between them was heartwarming. One afternoon, after a session, Mai approached Lynn with tears in her eyes. "I can't thank you enough. I was feeling so lost and alone, but Max has brought joy back into my life. I never thought I could feel this way again." Lynn felt a wave of emotion. "That's what this is all about, Mai. Animals have a unique way of helping us heal. I'm so glad you found that connection." As their programs flourished, Lynn and Hui were invited to share their story at local schools, community centers, and even national conferences. They spoke about the transformative power of compassion, how small acts of kindness could change lives and strengthen communities. Each time they shared their journey, they inspired others to think about how they could make a difference, whether through volunteering, fostering animals, or supporting local shelters. One particularly impactful moment came during a conference focused on community development. Lynn and Hui presented alongside leaders from various organizations, sharing their model of integrating animal welfare with mental health support. They received standing ovations, and many attendees expressed a desire to implement similar programs in their own communities. Buoyed by the positive reception, they decided to write a book detailing their journey, sharing stories from the shelter, the people they had helped, and the lessons learned along the way. The book became a testament to the power of community and the bonds formed through compassion and care. As their influence grew, Lynn and Hui knew they wanted to expand their reach even further. They began collaborating with other shelters across the country to share their model and provide training for staff and volunteers. They hosted webinars and workshops, ensuring that the knowledge they had gained would benefit those working in animal welfare everywhere. One evening, as they sat in the shelter's garden, watching the sun set, Lynn turned to Hui with a smile. "Can you believe how far we've come? Just a few years ago, we were a small shelter, and now we're making a national impact." Hui nodded, his expression contemplative. "It's incredible. But I think the best part is still the lives we touch every day. Every story we hear, every animal we help, that's what keeps us going." As they continued their work, Lynn and Hui also found time for themselves. They scheduled regular outings, whether it was a hike in the nearby mountains or a weekend trip to the beach. These moments helped them recharge and remember the joy that had sparked their journey in the first place. One day, during a quiet afternoon at the shelter, Lynn noticed a small, scruffy dog being brought in by a local rescue group. The dog looked frightened and worn out. Lynn knelt down, extending her hand gently. "Hey there, little one. You're safe now." As the dog cautiously approached her, she felt an instant connection. "I think we might have found a new friend." She decided to name him Toby. With love and patience, Lynn and the team worked to rehabilitate Toby, and soon he blossomed into a playful and affectionate companion. Toby quickly became a favorite among visitors, especially the children who came to the shelter. His story was a reminder of resilience and the power of second chances, and he perfectly embodied the shelter's mission. Meanwhile, the Pet Ambassador program continued to thrive. The boy who had first attended their workshop was now leading sessions, inspiring younger kids to take an interest in animal welfare. Lynn watched with pride as he encouraged them to create their own clubs and engage with the community. One day, the boy approached Lynn with an idea. "What if we organized a community pet fair? We could showcase all the animals available for adoption and have fun activities for families." Lynn's eyes lit up. "That's a fantastic idea. We can include games, workshops, and even a talent show for the pets." As the planning began, excitement rippled through the shelter. Volunteers rallied, local businesses offered sponsorships, and the community buzzed with anticipation. The day of the fair arrived, and the shelter was transformed into a lively celebration of animals and their human companions. Families flocked to the event, enjoying games, petting zoos, and even a costume contest for pets. Lynn and Hui were overwhelmed by the turnout. The atmosphere was filled with laughter, joy, and the unmistakable bond between animals and their people. By the end of the day, many animals had found their forever homes, and the community came together to celebrate the spirit of compassion that had defined their journey. Lynn and Hui stood hand in hand, watching the joyful scene unfold. "This is what it's all about," Lynn said, her heart swelling with happiness. "Creating connections, helping animals, and bringing people together." As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the fair, Lynn felt a sense of fulfillment. She realized that their work was not just about saving animals, it was about building a community united in love, kindness, and hope. In the months that followed, Lynn and Hui continued to innovate and expand their programs. They launched a foster care initiative to encourage community members to temporarily house animals in need, creating a network of caring individuals who could help ease the burden on the shelter. One day, as they were brainstorming new ideas, Hui proposed a partnership with local schools to create an animal advocacy curriculum. "We could teach students about responsible pet ownership, the importance of spaying and neutering, and how to advocate for animals in need." Lynn nodded enthusiastically. "That would empower the next generation to make a difference. We need to get them involved early on." With that, they reached out to school administrators and began collaborating to develop the curriculum. As they introduced it to students, Lynn watched as they engaged with the material, excitedly learning how they could contribute to animal welfare. Years passed, and Lynn and Hui found themselves reflecting on their journey. They had built a thriving shelter that had transformed countless lives, both human and animal. They had created a legacy rooted in love, resilience, and community. One evening, as they sat together on the porch of the shelter, watching the stars twinkle above, Lynn turned to Hui. "Do you remember the day we first met that boy searching for his lost puppy? I never imagined it would lead to all of this." Hui smiled, nostalgia washing over him. "It's amazing how one small act of kindness can create such a ripple effect. Every moment, every connection, it all matters." Lynn nodded, her heart full. "And we're just getting started. There's so much more to do, so many more lives to touch." As they continued to dream of the future, Lynn and Hui knew that their journey was far from over. With each new initiative, every animal rescued, and every life changed, they would remain dedicated to their mission of compassion and connection. Together, they had built more than just a shelter, they had created a movement that would inspire others to join in their efforts. And as they looked to the horizon, they felt a sense of hope, knowing that they were part of something much bigger than themselves, a community united by love, compassion, and the unwavering belief that every act of kindness could spark change. As Lynn and Hui continued to expand their initiatives, the shelter became a recognized hub for community engagement. They introduced monthly community days, where families could come together for fun activities, educational workshops, and volunteer opportunities. Each event drew larger crowds, reinforcing the shelter's role in the community and fostering a deeper connection between people and animals. One community day, Lynn decided to host a special event called Pet Stories, where community members could share their experiences with their pets, how their furry friends had impacted their lives. The idea was met with enthusiasm, and soon people were lining up to take the mic and share their heartfelt tales. As the stories flowed, laughter and tears filled the air. One woman shared how her cat had helped her through a tough divorce, while another spoke of how his dog had been a constant source of comfort during his battle with depression. Each story highlighted the powerful bond between humans and animals, and Lynn could see the impact it had on everyone present. In the midst of the stories, a young girl named Anya nervously approached the mic. Lynn could see her shaking, but there was a determination in her eyes. "I want to tell you about my dog, Bella," she began, her voice wavering at first. "She's my best friend. When I'm sad, she always knows how to make me smile." As Anya spoke, her confidence grew, and soon the audience was captivated by her passion and love for her dog. "When I adopted Bella from the shelter, I didn't just get a pet, I got a family member. She saved me just as much as I saved her." The crowd erupted in applause as Anya stepped down, her face glowing with pride. Lynn felt a surge of emotion, realizing how powerful these connections were, not just for the individuals involved, but for the community as a whole. After the event, Lynn and Hui received messages from many attendees thanking them for creating a space where people could share and connect. It was evident that the shelter was not just a refuge for animals, it had become a source of support and healing for people as well. With this momentum, they decided to create a pet therapy team, training volunteers to bring comfort to local hospitals, schools, and nursing homes with therapy animals. This initiative allowed them to extend their mission even further, spreading joy and companionship to those who needed it most. As the therapy team visited various locations, Lynn was amazed at the responses they received. Patients in hospitals lit up at the sight of the animals, and children in schools showed great enthusiasm during therapy sessions. The joy and laughter were contagious, and it became clear that these interactions had a profound impact on mental well-being. One day, during a therapy visit at a local hospital, Lynn met an elderly man named Mr. Nguyen, who had been hospitalized for several weeks. When the therapy dog, Bella, approached him, his eyes sparkled with recognition. "I used to have a dog just like her," he said, his voice filled with nostalgia. "Her name was also Bella. She was my best friend." Lynn knelt beside Mr. Nguyen, her heart aching for him. "Would you like to spend some time with her?" Tears welled up in his eyes as he nodded. The moment Bella snuggled up to him, a wave of emotion washed over them both. Mr. Nguyen began sharing stories of his beloved Bella, recounting the adventures they had shared. Lynn listened intently, knowing how significant these moments were for him. In that instant, she realized the true power of their work, the ability to bridge gaps, to connect generations through shared love and experiences. It was these moments that fueled her passion and commitment to their mission. As the years went by, Lynn and Hui's initiatives flourished. They expanded their outreach, collaborating with schools to develop comprehensive programs focused on empathy, responsibility, and animal care. They even launched a scholarship fund for students pursuing careers in veterinary medicine and animal welfare. One summer, they decided to host a youth leadership camp at the shelter, inviting young people from different backgrounds to come together, learn, and grow. The camp aimed to teach leadership skills, empathy, and the importance of giving back to the community. Lynn and Hui facilitated workshops on effective communication, teamwork, and animal care. The camp became a transformative experience for many attendees. Over the course of the week, friendships blossomed, and participants found their voices. They engaged in discussions about social issues, animal welfare, and how they could affect change in their communities. On the final day of the camp, the participants organized a community cleanup and awareness event at the shelter. They painted signs, made banners, and set up stations to educate visitors about responsible pet ownership and the importance of animal adoption. As Lynn watched the young leaders in action, her heart swelled with pride. They were not just learning, they were taking initiative, advocating for change, and inspiring others to join their cause. One participant, a girl named Lila, approached Lynn at the end of the camp. "Thank you for everything. This week has changed my life. I want to start a club at my school to help animals." Lynn's smile widened. "That's fantastic, Lila. I'd love to help you with that. Let's brainstorm some ideas together." With each passing event, Lynn and Hui could see the legacy they were building. They were not just running a shelter, they were cultivating a culture of compassion that would ripple through generations. Their dream of a community where kindness and love prevailed was coming to fruition. One evening, after a long day at the shelter, Lynn and Hui sat together on the porch, reflecting on their journey. "Can you believe how much has changed?" Hui asked, looking out at the stars. "We've created something truly special." Lynn nodded, her heart full. "It's incredible. I'm so grateful for all the lives we've touched and for the community that has rallied around us. This wouldn't have been possible without everyone's support." Just then, a familiar bark interrupted their moment. Toby, the scruffy dog Lynn had rescued years ago, trotted over, tail wagging. Lynn reached down to pet him, a wave of nostalgia washing over her. "Remember the day we found him? It feels like a lifetime ago." Hui chuckled. "And look at him now. He's become a symbol of everything we stand for, a testament to second chances. As they continued to reminisce, they both knew their journey was far from over. With every new idea, every heart they touched, and every animal they saved, they were reminded of the power of kindness and community. And so, they turned their eyes to the future, eager to embrace the adventures and challenges that lay ahead. Together, Lynn and Hui were committed to their mission, driven by love, compassion, and the unwavering belief that every action, no matter how small, could create a ripple of change in the world. As Lynn and Hui continued to nurture their growing community, they began to notice a shift in the perception of animal welfare in their town. Local businesses started to host fundraising events, schools integrated animal care into their curricula, and even the local government began to recognize the importance of supporting shelters and promoting responsible pet ownership. One day, they received an unexpected invitation to participate in a citywide forum on community health and wellness. The organizers wanted to highlight the role of pets in mental health and how shelters could contribute to the overall well-being of the community. Lynn and Hui prepared a presentation, eager to share their success stories and innovative programs. When the day of the forum arrived, the auditorium was filled with community leaders, health professionals, and residents eager to learn. Lynn stood at the podium, her heart racing with anticipation. As she began to speak, she felt a surge of passion. Animals have an incredible ability to heal, comfort, and bring joy into our lives. Our work at the shelter isn't just about rescuing pets, it's about creating a healthier, happier community. As she shared stories of the lives they had touched, people finding companionship through therapy animals, families adopting pets and transforming their homes, the audience listened intently. Hui followed with a discussion on their educational programs and the impact they had on youth engagement and leadership. After their presentation, the room erupted in applause. Several attendees approached them with ideas for collaboration, and it was clear that the ripple effect of their work was spreading far beyond what they had imagined. In the following weeks, Lynn and Hui began collaborating with local healthcare providers to launch a Pets for Health initiative. This program aimed to pair therapy animals with patients in hospitals and rehabilitation centers, emphasizing the emotional and psychological benefits of animal companionship. As the program took off, they received feedback from both patients and healthcare staff about the positive impact of the therapy animals. Patients reported feeling less anxious and more hopeful during their treatment. One doctor even noted, "The presence of these animals has significantly improved our patients' recovery times." It's truly remarkable. Encouraged by these results, Lynn and Hui decided to take the program a step further. They organized training sessions for volunteers who wanted to become certified therapy animal handlers. This way, they could expand their reach and involve more community members in the initiative. As the training sessions began, Lynn met a woman named Tao, who had a gentle golden retriever named Sunny. Tao had always wanted to volunteer, but had never known how to get involved. After attending the training, she felt empowered and excited to contribute. "I can't wait to start visiting the hospital," Tao exclaimed. "Sunny has such a sweet disposition. I know she'll make a difference." Lynn smiled, thrilled to see the enthusiasm and commitment in the community. "You're going to be amazing. Just remember, it's all about the connections you make." As the weeks turned into months, the Pets for Health initiative flourished. Tao and Sunny became regular visitors at the hospital, brightening the days of patients and staff alike. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive, with many patients expressing gratitude for the companionship that Sunny provided. One day, while visiting the hospital, Lynn encountered Mr. Nguyen again, the elderly man who had found solace in Bella's company. His health had improved, and he was now in the process of rehabilitation. When he saw Lynn and Sunny, his face lit up. "Hello again. I was just thinking about how much I miss my Bella," he said, his eyes shining with warmth. "But Sunny is just as lovely." Lynn knelt beside him, allowing Sunny to rest her head on Mr. Nguyen's lap. "I'm so glad you're doing better. Sunny is here to help bring you some joy." As they chatted, Lynn could see the transformative power of their work in action. This connection between people and animals was not just healing, it was creating a sense of community, support, and belonging. Meanwhile, back at the shelter, Lynn and Hui were busy planning their next big event, the annual Compassion Festival. This festival aimed to celebrate their achievements and raise awareness about animal welfare. They envisioned a day filled with fun activities, educational booths, and opportunities for community members to adopt pets. As they prepared for the festival, the excitement in the air was palpable. Volunteers rallied to help with decorations, and local businesses donated supplies and services. Lynn and Hui felt a deep sense of gratitude for the community that had embraced their mission. On the day of the Compassion Festival, the shelter was transformed into a vibrant celebration. Colorful banners hung overhead, music filled the air, and families gathered with their pets, creating a lively atmosphere. Lynn and Hui stood at the entrance, welcoming attendees with smiles. Throughout the day, they organized various activities, including pet adoption drives, workshops on animal care, and demonstrations on responsible pet ownership. They even set up a pet parade, where families could showcase their beloved pets, bringing laughter and joy to everyone. As the sun began to set, Lynn and Hui took a moment to step back and reflect on the success of the festival. They watched as families laughed, pets played, and connections were forged. It was a celebration of compassion, love, and community spirit. Amid the festivities, a familiar face approached them. It was Lila, the girl who had started the animal advocacy club at her school. She was accompanied by a group of her friends, all eager to learn about volunteering at the shelter. Lynn. Hui. This is amazing. We want to help out and get involved. Lila exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Lynn felt a rush of pride. We'd love to have you. Your energy and passion can make a huge difference. The festival continued into the evening, with a sense of unity and purpose enveloping the crowd. Lynn and Hui were overwhelmed with gratitude for the community's support and the countless lives they had touched. As the night drew to a close, Lynn took a moment to step away from the festivities. She stood on a small hill overlooking the shelter, the warm glow of lights illuminating the grounds below. Hui joined her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. Look at all we've accomplished, he said softly. This is just the beginning. Lynn nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. Every act of kindness, every connection made, it all matters. We're building something special here, and it's only going to grow. With renewed determination, they turned back to the festivities, ready to embrace the challenges and joys that lay ahead. Together, they knew they would continue to inspire change, foster connections, and spread compassion throughout their community, one paw at a time. As the final moments of the Compassion Festival unfolded, Lynn and Hui stood amidst the laughter and joy, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment. The bonds they had forged, the lives they had touched, and the community they had built were all woven together in the tapestry of kindness they had created. As the night sky twinkled above, Hui turned to Lynn, a smile spreading across his face. Can you believe how far we've come? It's incredible to think that a small idea has blossomed into this. Lynn nodded, her heart swelling with pride. It's not just about us, it's everyone who believed in our mission. This community has truly embraced the idea of compassion, and that's what makes it special. In that moment, they spotted Lila and her friends, busy organizing a booth for their animal advocacy club, sharing information about responsible pet ownership with enthusiasm. Lynn felt a rush of hope for the future, knowing that the seeds of kindness they had sown would continue to grow and flourish in the hands of the next generation. As the festival drew to a close, Lynn and Hui gathered with their volunteers, thanking them for their hard work and dedication. The sense of camaraderie was palpable, each person aware that they were part of something bigger, a movement driven by love and a commitment to making a difference. As the last of the lights dimmed and the laughter faded into the night, Lynn and Hui stood together, gazing at the shelter bathed in the soft glow of moonlight. They exchanged a knowing look, understanding that this was just the beginning of a much larger journey. Hand in hand, they made a promise to each other and to the community, to keep pushing forward, to continue nurturing the connections they had built, and to always champion the cause of those who couldn't speak for themselves. Their mission was clear, and with the support of their community, they felt empowered to create a world where compassion reigned supreme. And so, with hearts full of hope and determination, they stepped into the future, ready to embrace every challenge and opportunity that awaited them, knowing that together, they could make a lasting impact, one act of kindness at a time.